I thought it plateaued. I thought the bubble was about to burst and the hype train was derailing. I even thought my software engineering job might be safe from Devin, but I couldn't have been more wrong. Yesterday, OpenAI released a new terrifying state-of-the-art model named O1, and it's not just another basic GPT, it's a new paradigm of deep thinking or reasoning models that obliterate all past benchmarks on
L_42 months.
math, coding, and PhD level science. And Sam Altman had a message for all.
Wait, moral scenarios? Chat, guys, I actually wonder, chat, what is, you think, the average passing scores for moral scenarios in United States for average citizens?
Benchmarks on math,
that's like
PhD level science.
25
and Sam Altman
maybe.
had a message for all the AI haters out there.
2 steps ahead. I am always
Probably lower, because
2 steps ahead.
Before
People
we get
just
too
don't
hopeful
know how
that
to
O1
reason.
will unburden us from our programming jobs,
They just
though,
don't.
there are many reasons to
Alright.
doubt this new model. It's definitely not ASI, it's not AGI, and
Or
not
they might
even
know-
enough to be called GPT-5.
They might have some idea of what it means to be good, but they don't know how to reason with it,
figure
right?
out how O1
They're just
actually
clueless.
works and what it means
No,
for the
they're-
future of humanity. It is Friday the 13th, and you're watching the Code Report. GPT-5, Orion, Q-Star, Strawberry. These are all names that leaked out of OpenAI in recent months, but yesterday the world was shocked when they released O1 ahead of schedule. GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer, and O stands for Oh shit, we're all gonna die. First, let's admire these dubious benchmarks. Compared to GPT-4, it achieves massive gains on accuracy, most notably in PhD level physics.
Bro, PhD level science questions in physics and 93% to pass accuracy?
And on the massive multitask language understanding benchmarks for math and formal logic. But the craziest improvements come in its coding ability. At the International Olympiad in Informatics, it was in the 49th percentile when allowed 50 submissions per problem, but then broke the gold medal submission when it was allowed 10,000 submissions. And compared to GPT-4, its Codeforce's ELO went from the 11th percentile all the way up to the 93rd percentile. Impressive, but they've also secretly been working with Cognition Labs, the company that wants to replace programmers with this greasy pirate gigolo named Devin. When using the GPT-4 brain, it only solved 20.
Yeah, it's brute forcing, but at the same time, if you can double check and verify the work, right? Who cares if you're brute forcing it? The whole point is to get there. To get there more often than not. I mean, who gives a fuck if you had 9999 bad attempts? If the one got
problems, but with GPT-01, the chart went up to 75%. That's crazy, and our only hope is that these internal closed-source benchmarks from a VC-funded company desperate to raise more money are actually just BS. Only time will tell, but O1 is no doubt a huge leap forward in the AI race. And the timing is perfect because many people have been switching from ChatGPT to Claude, and OpenAI is in talks to raise more money at a $150 billion valuation. But how does a deep thinking model actually work? Well, technically, they released 3 new models, O1 Mini, O1 Preview, and O1 Regular. Us plebs only have access to Mini and Preview, and O1 Regular is still locked in a cage, although they have hinted at a $2,000 Premium Plus plan to access it. What makes these models special, though, is that
I'll do that. I'll buy that shit.
hinted at a
No
$2,000
thanks.
Premium Plus plan to access it. What makes these models special, though, is that they rely on reinforcement learning to perform complex
Big
reasoning.
love from
That means when
Maclobro
presented with a problem,
xQcl.
they produce a chain of thought before presenting the answer to the user. In other words, they think. Descartes said, I think, therefore I am, but O1 is still not a sentient life form. Just like a human, though,
Also, you have to say you have to like nudge it then. If it has a flawed method of thinking, the whole thing is wrong. You have to nudge it.
it will go through a series of
confused.
thoughts before reaching a final conclusion, and in the process produce what
Yeah,
are called
it
reasoning
it
tokens.
improves
These
itself.
are like outputs that help the model refine its steps and backtrack when necessary, which allows it to produce complex
it nudged
solutions
itself
with
pretty
fewer
much.
hallucinations. But the trade-off is that the response requires more time, computing power, and money. OpenAI released a bunch of examples, like this guy making a playable snake game in a single shot, or this guy creating a nonogram puzzle. And the model can even reliably tell you how many R's are in the word strawberry, a question that has baffled LLMs in the past. Actually, just kidding, it failed that test when I tried to run it myself. And the actual chain of thought is hidden from the end user, even though you do have to pay for those tokens at a price of $60 per 1 million. However, they do provide some examples of chain of thought, like in this coding example that transposes a matrix in Bash. You'll notice that it first looks at the shape of the inputs and outputs, then considers the constraints of the programming language, and goes through a bunch of other steps before regurgitating a response. But this is actually not a novel concept.
Chat, isn't it hard to figure out why AI makes certain mistakes like continuously? Like whenever AI cannot generate like hands and stuff like that, right? Isn't there like a way of thinking like, why is it doing this exact? I feel like it's hard to find out why, because otherwise it's been fixed the day of.
Google has been dominating.
If I were to guess, it's because
with Alpha Proof and Alpha Coder for the
it
last
tends to
few
be
years,
complex things, right?
By producing synthetic data.
It's
but this is the first time a model like this has become generally available to the public.
It struggles
Let's go ahead and find
making
out if
reasoning when it's complex. It's getting complex, so it's gonna take shortcuts because it doesn't know how to. It reasons because it gets lucky, not because it knows how to reason. You just get lucky with it. So when you need to apply the reasoning to a more extended period of time, or to a bigger problem, a more complex problem, then he just doesn't know how to, because he's gonna do it one way first, but then it runs out of what it already knew, and it's just gonna be shit.
But what it's actually doing under the hood is creating those reasoning tokens, which should lead to a more comprehensive and accurate result. In contrast to GPT-4, O1 compiled right away, and it followed the game requirements to a T. At first glance, it actually seemed like a flawless game, but it turns out the app was actually pretty buggy. I kept getting into this infinite loop with Officer Hardass, and the UI was also terrible. I tried to fix these issues with additional follow-up prompts, but they actually led to more hallucinations and more bugs, and it's pretty clear that this model isn't truly intelligent.
It's just like
that
me.
being said, though, there's a huge amount of potential with this chain of thought
literally
approach. And by
me.
potential, I mean potential to overstate its capabilities. In 2019, they were telling us GPT-2 was too dangerous to release. Now, 5 years later, you've got
I was wrong. He's just like me.
Strawberry is scary stuff.
It is just like us. Come on, man.
O1 is just another benign AI tool. It's basically just like GPT-4 with the ability to recursively prompt itself. It's not fundamentally game-changing, but you really shouldn't listen to me. I'm just like a horse influencer in 1910, telling horses a car won't take your job, but another horse driving a car will. This has been the Code Report. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next.
Chad, the more layers you add to this process, the better it gets, no? Like, is this can always get better? So it can always get better? Not necessarily.
It can progress in the wrong way, and then it just kind of gets stuck, right? It can make a mistake and then basically take forever to correct it because it keeps building on the mistake, and the mistake becomes too far back for it to really fix it. You get what I mean?
Powered by Game Engine, the world's first entirely neural network-based game engine. The environment, the collisions, and the graphics.
Because for it to progress in the right direction, you need to get lucky, or you need to nudge it yourself. But mostly just get lucky.
That most video game graphics
and you run it a bunch of times
AI in real time within 5
because if it makes a mistake
when GTA 7 comes out in 2042
and it doesn't fix it, then you're in deep shit, right? If it doesn't fix it the first time, it's not gonna
we'll
fix
find out
it.
how this black magic actually works and whether or not it's the future of game development. It is August 29th, 2024, and you're watching the Code Report. Before we can understand how Game Engine works, we must first understand Doom, a game that was revolutionary when it came out in 1993. Not only was it a violent game that moms hated, but it was a huge technical achievement in 3D gameplay. While the player runs around obliterating demons from a 3D perspective, the enemies and objects are actually just 2D sprites rendered at fixed angles. This differs from modern games that use billions of triangles and linear algebra to render 3D objects. The key takeaway here, though, is that Doom is not a true 3D game, and its underlying technique is often called 2.5D graphics or billboarding. In other words, you take a bunch of 2D images, but skew and scale them in ways that make it look like a 3D environment. It's genius, so let's take a moment of
chat. So basically it's like the whole game is just like it's like backgrounds. You know when you play a game and there's like a photo way back at the back and it looks like a certain way? It's like that, but for every surface.
Respect for its lead developer and legendary programmer John Carmack. Not only did he create Doom and Wolfenstein and Quake, but he open sourced the Doom engine in 1997, which inspired an entire generation of new programmers. Currently, he's working on artificial general intelligence at Keen Technologies, and let's hope he gets there before Sam Altman does. But now that you understand how Doom is just a bunch of 2D sprites, Game Engine becomes a little less magical, which is based on Stable Diffusion. It relies on an augmented version of Stable Diffusion 1.4, which is trained to predict the next frame based on the sequence of past frames and actions.
Is that bad?
And the other big component of the architecture is a reinforcement learning agent, which is trained to play the game and record itself like an artificial Twitch streamer. Google has taken a lot of L's recently, but it's also been shipping some amazing tech, especially when it combines reinforcement learning with generative AI. Like AlphaCoder uses a similar technique to beat virtually all competitive programmers, and AlphaProof can beat almost all math Olympiads. But when it comes to the game engine, their biggest challenge was addressing autoregressive drift, where the quality of gameplay starts to decrease over longer sequences. The model only has a limited context window of about 3 seconds or 60 frames, but in a fast-paced game like Doom, that's all you need for real-time gameplay. And despite the small context, it does keep track of health and ammo based on the actions taken by the player. The big question, though, is does this make game developers obsolete? The answer, of course, is no. This game is barely playable, and the tech has no practical application for the time being, but in the not-so-distant future, you could imagine a developer like Rockstar.
It's when we see something that's really bad, everybody says, oh, it's so dog shit, right? But it's not really what it is, it's what it means, you know? Sometimes I feel like it's like it shows that it's getting closer, and things always ramp up really, really quickly. It's almost like exponential, you know?
Yeah.
When you see a point in a curve that's somewhat advanced, right? It's like, oh wait, we're gonna get there fast.
Rockstar Games using an RL agent to play the GTA
as long as it's not nothing, it's still something.
Generative 3D model, they can spit out new terrain, NPCs, and even storylines on the fly. But you really shouldn't be playing video games because women find it the most unattractive hobby for men. Real world-changing application of technology like this is going to come in robotics. Real-time environment simulation will allow robots to train rapidly without physical hardware. Like when it comes to capital punishment, it's extremely hard to gather enough data for a large model. Well, not anymore, thanks to Google's Project Talon.
The new device is designed to be as humane as possible, emitting soothing white noise and putting prisoners on a cushioned seat before its metallic talons dig into their necks and painlessly wrench their heads off.
The Figure 2 robot was just released a few weeks ago. Elon is building Optimus robots. NVIDIA recently unveiled Project Groot. Google's investing heavily in robotics research, and they're all trying to make Terminator-like humanoid robots a thing. And if they succeed, we'll have to put yet another dollar in the Arthur C. Clarke was right jar.
The future does belong to the robots. Biological evolution has about come to its end. They will start to think, and eventually they will completely outthink their makers. Is this depressing?
Yep, this has been the Code Report.
What's up?
You trying to play some Deadlock?
Pavel Durov is one of the most interesting men in the world. He has a net worth of $15 billion, yet owns no assets. He's fathered over 100 kids, yet never had relations with the mothers. He created VK in Russia and trolled government officials, and even his hairline unreceded out of respect. But his greatest achievement is the creation of Telegram, a social platform with over 1 billion users that doesn't run ads, has only 30 employees, and is engineered to be extremely annoying to anyone who glows in the dark. He once said, "To be truly free, you should be ready to risk everything for freedom." Well, yesterday, that risk was realized when he was arrested in France and is now facing up to 20 years in prison, with potential charges for money laundering, fraud, sanctions evadement, for doing terrorisms, and the list goes on. But there's a lot more to this story, so today we'll find out how Telegram actually works, compare it to other encrypted messaging apps like Signal, to find out if Telegram is good or evil. It is August 25th, 2024, and you're watching The Code Report. Pavel Durov is Russian-born, but he's also a citizen of the UAE and France. I don't know what his play was with becoming a French citizen, but it gave France the justification to arrest, imprison, and potentially guillotine him. But what did he actually do that was so bad? Well, according to the French, they're mad because of a, quote, lack of moderation and cooperation with law enforcement. In addition, Telegram's use of disposable phone numbers facilitates cryptocurrency transfers that cannot be monitored by authorities. And Telegram even has its own token that's been tanking after the arrest. It sounds a lot like the Silk Road, which got its founder Ross Ulbricht 2 life sentences without parole. But I've been a Telegram user for for many years and have never personally seen any illegal activity take place there. It's just the only social platform you can get unfiltered, uncensored information, like the truth about wars and the shape of the planet, without the mainstream narrative and infantile warning labels. But Telegram is not totally uncensored. If you download it from the Apple or Google app stores, they're required to censor a large amount of content. That's why you should only ever download it from telegram.org, and many of their applications are open sourced as well. But how do the authorities even know about all this illegal stuff if everything on Telegram is encrypted? Well, actually, most things that happen on Telegram are not encrypted. Well, encrypted, just not end-to-end encrypted. The most secure way to pass messages privately is to use end-to-end encryption, where the encryption and decryption happens on the user's device, as opposed to a centralized server not owned by the user. Even if the messages are stored in a centralized database, only the person with the key can read those messages, not the company hosting the database and not the authorities. The only way to read someone's messages is to physically hold them at gunpoint and make them open.
So I send you a safe, and you have the key to that safe, right? And the server in the middle just translates that over, but cannot interact with the safe or the key.
Up their phone. This is how apps like Signal work, which has its own open source protocol and itself was recently banned in Russia. Now, Telegram does do end-to-end encryption for private chats, but everything else is public and encrypted on the server. And Telegram's protocol has received a fair amount of criticism from security researchers in the past. The reason the feds hate Telegram, though, is because its infrastructure is intentionally distributed across multiple countries. That means if an agent wants your data, they'll need to coordinate with multiple different legal systems, and even if they bust down the door and take the hard drive in Iowa, the data will be encrypted with the key stored in some other random country like Turkmenistan. And the Turkmenistanis might not be too keen to help us out because we've been bombing their country for the last 30 years. The authorities hate encryption so much that in the EU, they're trying to make end-to-end encryption illegal. Ylva Johansson, aka Big Sister, is one of the figures behind this push, but so far it's been unsuccessful. Encryption is their kryptonite. Things like hate speech have already been criminalized in many parts of Europe and the UK, but if a big platform like Telegram doesn't cooperate, it becomes nearly impossible to enforce those laws. Well, one idea is to cut the head off the snake by arresting the CEO when he lands in his private jet and make him an offer he can't refuse. Either spend the next 20 years locked in a cage, or let us in the back door, then get back on your private jet and continue living your life as a prolific sperm donator. I don't know how things work in France, but the reality is that once the United States government goes after you, the chance of winning in court is less than 1%.
Okay, but what's the difference between that and spy on your citizens? What's the difference?
Nothing. It's just...
I don't get it. Isn't that the same thing?
And continue living your life as a prolific sperm donator. I don't know how things work in France, but the reality is that once the United States government goes after you,
well, there is a difference, but
is less than 1%.
It's like
that's why almost everyone in federal court
the difference.
The
two things aren't correlated; they're completely connected, so they're part of the bigger whole. So one cannot exist without the other.
Just a crazy coincidence. At this point, nobody knows what's going to happen to Pavel Durov, but we'll soon find out if he's ready to risk everything to become truly free. This has been the Code Report. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.
Interesting. Wait, I don't get it. So what if he says yes, they'll have access to everything that's going on in Telegram's encrypted stuff? So they'll arrest everybody that's like doing bad stuff on the app or whatever?
Yep.
Interesting.
I think. But first there's another
2010
video.
If you stand right here, just off this hotel pool in Las Vegas, at a specific time of day, you could die violently.
What?
07.
Same goes for this spot right here on East Cheap in London. Cause of death, these two buildings respectively. Well, technically the sun reflecting off of the windows of these two buildings respectively. And to add to this truly odd phenomenon, it all traces back to one very stubborn man. Why? How? What?
A bizarre beam of light radiates onto the street.
It's like being under a magnifying glass.
You were literally being burned.
Some have managed to fry an egg.
It got up to 92.6 degrees.
That's Celsius.
This was an attack by the Death Ray.
Enter a story revolving around fascinating physics phenomena, reckless architecture, melting steel, and burned human flesh. This is the weird world of solar death rays.
This is a weird topic.
This is Bill Pintus, a lawyer from Chicago who enjoys spending time in Las
Jet fuel doesn't melt steel beams.
Okay.
God.
Vegas every now and then.
Ooh.
He's chilling at the Vidara Hotel on the Strip. He takes a little swim in the pool, then returns to his lounge chair. Martin Lindsay drives into the city for some errands. It's a hot, sunny day. He parks his Jaguar right behind 20 Fenchurch Street on East Cheap before heading off for about an hour. By afternoon, it's really, really hot in Vegas. Bill doesn't mind the escalating heat until suddenly his hair starts burning.
xQc
Martin returns to his beloved car only to find someone taking pictures of it. He comes closer and notices the car's body is partially melted.
Oh, I'd be fucking mad.
Bill's hair, head, and legs are burned. He rushes to the shade of an umbrella, but it offers little relief. The sun is so intense and blistering that no matter where he goes, he can't seem to find an escape. Both of these stories actually happened.
It's completely warped. You can get your hand underneath here, and you can get your hand in here. It's absolutely ruined.
Both incidents are due to a phenomenon called solar convergence, or much cooler, solar death rays.
Oh, all of them?
The physics behind it is fairly simple.
All the
when
angles
parallel light
combine
rays strike
focally.
a parabolic curved surface, they are all reflected to a single point known as the
You already
focal
saw
point.
this like a minute ago. You already showed this.
It's called focal length, similar to the focal length of a camera lens. Depending on how stretched or compressed the parabola curve is, the focal point changes. Either way, the result is one concentrated, very hot beam of light, sometimes capable of melting objects and causing serious burns. These rays...
Is it possible mathematically or whatever, or in practice, to have the streets past the point?
Yeah.
Sometimes capable of melting objects and causing serious burns.
It is.
These rays can even melt rocks.
So this is being
On
jumped
YouTube, you'll find numerous videos of people showcasing their DIY home-built death ray reflectors.
It's a nice turkey burger.
In the cases of Bill and Martin, the reflective curved glass facade of the Vidara Hotel and the facade of 20 Fenchurch in London were responsible. The focal points of both buildings happen to be precisely where humans interact. Luckily, these particular death rays only occur sporadically. The alignment of the sun and the parabolic surface have to be just right. But a few hours of death raying on a random Thursday can do more than enough damage. Several reports of burned hair, melted plastic, extreme sunburns, deformed vehicles, and charred doormats went viral. One journalist even fried an egg in front of 20 Fenchurch to demonstrate the intense heat.
It is so hot. It is so hot. There you go. He has just cooked that egg on a frying pan on the streets.
That's not cooked.
In the cases of the two buildings, no one was critically injured. At least
it's not leaky.
Martin might be a little traumatized.
There was uncooked
from
white egg. Egg whites. It does not cook.
Inside the car, the outcome could have been far more serious. And luckily, no one fell asleep at the hotel pool in Vegas long enough to get seriously
I think the windows
burned
have some
or
sort of
even killed.
UV.
Reports show that temperatures soared up to 117 degrees Celsius on East Cheap, while at the Vidara, temperatures increased by 20 degrees Celsius around the pool. Not to be Captain Obvious, but that seems like some seriously design, right? All of this could have been avoided with proper planning and a few design adjustments. So, who is responsible? As it turns out, one guy designed both buildings.
Couldn't they have like a small like sticker or whatever, like on the windows, or a slight different slant on the windows, like a bubble almost in the shape of the windows?
This is the Uruguayan architect Rafael Vignoli. He seems to really enjoy his parabolical shapes. Reports show that he was even aware of the problem way before the Vidara was constructed. The windows of the hotel had been preemptively covered with a custom film to reduce the sun's effects by 70%. which clearly didn't help all that much. So considering that Vignoli was well aware of the issue by the time the Vadara was built, why would he make the same mistake again when designing 20 Fenchurch, also nicknamed Walkie-Talkie, Walkie-Scorchy, or the Fry Scraper? Gotta love British media.
It is ridiculous. You don't need to go on holiday, basically. I'm going to Croatia in a couple of weeks. I think I might just pitch a tent down here and actually sunbathe here. It's really good.
In 2013, Vignoli gave The Guardian a legendary interview in which he explained himself.
That was a completely different problem,
said Vignoli, insisting he was following a master plan that specified arc-shaped towers.
We pointed out that would be an issue too, but who cares if you fry somebody in Las Vegas, right?
Regarding the Walkie-Scorchy, he said,
I knew this was going to happen, but there was a lack of tools or software that could be used to analyze the problem accurately.
Actually, there were many tools available to architects to avoid solar convergence issues at the time, but somehow he didn't stop talking at this point during the interview and just went on.
When it was spotted on a second design iteration, we judged the temperature was going to be about 36 degrees, but it's turned out to be more like 70.
Guys, we couldn't really calculate whether the door on this plane was gonna hold or not, so we just fucking sent it, hoping that whatever happens, lol.
They're calling it the death ray, because if you go there, you might die. It is phenomenal, this thing.
The Boeing method.
Phenomenal is kind of an odd choice of words when describing that a thing you made could burn people to death, but naturally, Vignoli wasn't done here.
When I first came to London years ago, it wasn't like this. Now you have all these sunny days, so you should blame this thing on global warming too, right?
So many hot takes in such a short interview.
What?
Raphael Vignoli passed away in 2023, leaving some unresolved questions about his designs. 20 Fenchurch was awarded the title of the worst building in the UK
I think he did it
if you Google
raise
solar convergence
global
today,
warming,
a planning advice document on the matter by the City of London is the top result.
Because everybody's not aware that everybody's talking about it.
The building is just looks
I didn't hear this every day
Why does London is so in
for
love
like
with
12
shit
years at school.
buildings?
While
I don't get it.
Soleil was added to the remaining glass facade. In Vegas, next to the non-reflective film that was applied to the glass facade of the Vadara, hotel staff provided umbrellas and pot plants at the pool. And despite the name, solar death rays can also be quite practical. For instance, parabolic reflectors can channel sunlight to dark places. This effect is used in a project in New York City where solar reflectors light an underground space. Parabolic reflectors outside harness sunlight, directing it toward the focal point. This concentrated light is then refracted multiple times and directed to an underground space. Another parabolic mirror at the end spreads it evenly throughout the space.
That's kinda cool.
Or take this solar furnace in France. The concentrated heat evaporates water to generate power. Temperatures at the focal point can reach up to 4,432 degrees Celsius. Vignoli would be proud. When designing buildings, a strong foundation in physics and math is clearly essential. Brilliant is an excellent platform to learn about these subjects and empower you to understand the world intuitively.
That was actually funny.
Their lessons are in
actual chat. He doesn't have to make jokes ever. That was actually a good one.
Then refracted multiple reach up to 4 evaporates water to generate power. Temperatures at the focal point can reach up to 4,432 degrees Celsius. Vignoli would be proud.
Holy.
When designing buildings
in the evening.
No.
Yeah, I did explain it, X.
Hey, listen.
Even if he doesn't win this.
Because I want to watch some Top Rocket League, man. I can't believe it.
Yeah, I don't.
Explain it then? Guys, let me explain it then. We just watched a video.
Okay, you want me to explain
90 with his building design.
Yes,
right?
He built the building
like
on purpose to reflect it and make it even hotter, right? He used the parabola, and so the French people they made it so it could do 4,000 degrees. Right, that's something even Vignoli couldn't even accomplish that, right? So he would be proud.
It's irony, but it's funny because
it's funny.
You don't want
xQc.
You get it? It's a funny joke.
That would burn them really badly because it's 4,000. Okay, I mean, you can ask me. Why would you guys ask me to explain if you don't make fun of me for explaining?
Yeah, true, but. No. I think explaining it is fun for if you don't understand the joke, then you understand it now. And now it's funny, right? It's funny. Also, Trump got shot again.
Yeah, that was the Trump thing, chat.
xQcl.
And this won't last because it's politics.
Why is this happening? Is it even real?
Politics.
Wait.
Yeah.
Someone just shot Trump.
It's
Trump campaign statement.
So expect a whole lot of nothing
in his vicinity.
for what is this? 60 minutes of a bunch
Shots
of
rang out
nothing.
near Trump. Campaign confirms he's safe and secure. Shots near Trump at the golf course where Trump was golfing. Suspects fled, and a gun was found in the bushes. Suspect has been arrested. Trump is safe. An AK-47? Breaking, officials believe that shots fired at Trump at the international...
Guys, I don't even understand why. Okay, guys, this is not even a bad gun take. This is a good gun take. Out of all guns to buy, right? People don't want to get like 7.62, whatever, like high caliber. Why AK? I don't understand it.
Because
There's
it's
so many
a gun.
better platforms, better. The gun sucks. Yeah, it's a good gun in terms of reliability in a lot of different terrain and
Now let me explain
weather conditions,
again.
and it's cheap. Yeah,
You have a gun.
In America like that,
name doesn't matter. You have a gun, and then you have a gun, and it goes shoot, and then you kill somebody, right?
Shots were fired.
Because when you have a gun, you can do it from a range, and they don't find it out. It's because you have a gun, and you can do it from a range, and you kill him. That's why you have an AK-7, because it's a gun.
Oh wow. Witnesses were able to provide a description of an individual and a vehicle. We are told that a vehicle that is close to that description has been stopped by Palm Beach County police, possibly in Martin County, just over the line, and that they are holding that individual for the purposes of identification. In the area of the shooting, sources say they recovered a backpack and a semi-automatic rifle that was described as an AK-47 and a GoPro camera. It suggests that this individual may have wanted to record himself in a first person doing the shooting.
Yeah, a POV.
A lot of questions to be answered.
Well, it seems like the secret...
Wait. You guys, AK semi-auto? I thought it was automatic. Well, I guess there could be different ones, but I thought it's usually automatic. So you don't know? Well, I don't. Every AK I've always shot always had automatic and semi-auto settings.
Secret Service
individual for the purposes of identification. In the area of the shooting, sources say they recovered a backpack and a semi-automatic rifle that was described as an AK-47 and a GoPro camera. It suggests that this individual may have wanted to record himself.
42 months, holy moly, I am so in the jungle right now, holy moly, I feel so
God, I need VPN. Guys, I need VPN.
Holy moly,
Yo, shut up, bitch. I need to put my VPN on, hold on. Yo, why is it all bugged like this? Guys, you see, guys, why is it so hard to find information? Like, look, I type Trump and YouTube, it glitches out. Look, I type YouTube and I get this thing, it's like Wikipedia, looking thing from Google, and they did these bugged links and no view count. What the fuck is this shit? It's not about censorship, it's about being dog shit. How do you even look at the news? This is a 2-hour video. What the fuck is this? Wait, I went there. The fuck? Jed, this is the bridge before it is like a state, no?
Well, this is a Fox News alert. Former President Trump is safe after gunshots were reported while he was golfing at his club in West Palm Beach at the Trump International Golf Course, not Mar-a-Lago. The former president is fine, his campaign says, though shots were fired in the vicinity of the golf course. We're now waiting for an update from the Secret Service and police about all this. Hello and welcome to Fox News Live. I'm Eric Shawn.
And I'm Marcel Neville. So the Trump campaign did not specify where those shots may have been fired in this.
Just don't say your name. I don't care about your name. Just get to the fucking details. You don't need to waste 13 minutes, bitch.
1:30 this afternoon. Call came out, shots fired.
10 minutes ago.
Called in by the Secret Service. Because we're in constant contact with them all the time. We were notified of that, and we had units here that immediately sealed off the area. Fortunately, we were able to locate a witness that came to us and said, hey, I saw the guy running out of the bushes. He jumped into a black Nissan, and I took a picture of the vehicle and the tag, which was great. So we had that information. Our real-time crime center put it out to the license plate readers. And we were able to get a hit on that vehicle on I-95 as it was headed into Martin County.
Wow.
We got a hold of Martin County Sheriff's Office, alerted them, and they spotted the vehicle and pulled it over and detained the guy.
That's fucking insane.
After that, we took the victim, the witness that witnessed the incident, flew him up there, and he identified as the person that he saw running out of the bushes and jumped into the car.
Get a welcome to the
now,
jungle?
In the bushes where this guy was is a 8K-47 style rifle with a scope, 2 backpacks which were hung on the fence that had ceramic tile in them, and a GoPro, which he was going to take pictures of. So those are being processed right now. The Secret Service agent that was on the course did a fantastic job.
This guy,
what they do is they have an agent that jumps one hole ahead of time to where the president was at.
You don't mix up
And
words like that usually, especially not if you're a native English speaker.
Wait, what?
Which I assume he
jumps
is.
one hole ahead of time to where the
Judging from his accent, right?
They have an agent that jumps one hole ahead of time to where the president was at.
That makes sense, yeah.
And he was able to spot this rifle barrel sticking out of the fence and immediately engage that individual, at which time the individual took off. So that's what we know about the investigation. We have somebody in custody right now that is a potential suspect. We got a little bit more work to do on it, but as we usually do, as soon as we decide that we're going to book him into the county jail and the charges that he's going to be booked into, we'll get those to you and we'll get a picture.
So they see the barrel visually at the hole, and then there's shots fired after?
Of him, and we'll get you his background. So now I'm going to turn it over to the representative of the Secret Service, and he's going to make a brief statement.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I first want to thank all of our law enforcement partners, to include the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office and the Martin County Sheriff's Office, for their involvement today. Former President Donald Trump is safe and unharmed following a protective incident shortly before 2 p.m. on Sunday at Trump International
Golf. The guy didn't shoot. They shot at him. That's why I said it.
Club at West Palm Beach. The U.S. Secret Service personnel opened fire on a gunman located near the property line, and this matter is under investigation. I'll turn it over to my partners over at the FBI.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeffrey Veltri. I'm the special agent in charge of the FBI's Miami field office. The FBI has assumed the role as the lead federal law enforcement agency in the investigation of the incident that occurred earlier today at Trump International Golf Course here in West Palm Beach, Florida. We've deployed a number of resources, including investigative teams, crisis response team members, bomb technicians, and evidence response team members as well. What we need right now is for the public to avoid the area around the golf course. We will continue to support this investigation with the full resources of the FBI, alongside our partners with the United States Secret Service and the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office, as well as Martin County Sheriff's Office and state and local law enforcement. I would ask that if anyone has any information that may assist with this investigation, to contact our tip line at 1-800
Okay, well, I'll admit
FBI.
I have no information about this.
At tips, that's TIPS.FBI.gov. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dave Ehrenberg, State Attorney for Palm Beach County. I want to thank Sheriff Bradshaw and our partners at the local, state, and federal levels. I'm here because our prosecutors are currently working up warrants and a motion for pretrial detention for the suspect. In that way, he will be kept in custody. But our filing of these warrants and charges at the state level does not preclude federal charges that could be coming. But in the meantime, it looks like the warrants and the pretrial detention motion will happen first. And again, I want to thank the cooperation we've had with our federal partners and at the local level. And thank you all for being here today.
Okay, we're going to make these pictures available to you. It'll show you a picture of the backpack and the rifle.
That's better.
There's also a GoPro.
No, hold it.
What the fuck? What the fuck kind of setup is this shit?
He's using the fence.
Huh?
To make his gun stable.
Yeah, I mean, it's an AK platform, but it's a piece of shit, and I don't know what these people are doing.
There where he was intent on filming what was going on. Even though we're going to have to secure a couple areas around the golf course here, the public doesn't need to panic. We know that we got a post office, a library, and a school down the street. So we'll make it convenient for you to get to all the places you need to go, get your kids to school, get them over here to the post office or wherever else you need to go.
The backpack had ceramic plates in it?
There's no more danger here, and we'll make it very convenient for you.
Oh, as a
so
shield.
Having said that, we're going to take a very limited amount of questions, and you can direct.
Oh. As a shield. Wait a minute. Jeez. So this guy thought about ceramic shields, a good setup like this, and this guy brings a fucking scoped AK just like that? I just don't get it.
Up to who you want to answer the question.
Is he just poor?
Did this individual make any statements as he was being detained?
No statement right now as far as his involvement in the incident, and there's further investigation to be completed.
What was his demeanor like?
Yeah, I'm not sure if maybe the Secret Service gentleman...
Guys, I'm not being weird, Chad. I'm just saying it. If you're going to be stationary, camped on the one spot, right? You're not going to be moving it, right? I mean, wouldn't you have like you know, one of the guns with like the stands or whatever, right? Like shoulder pad or whatever, like boom, a big scope or something like that, a bipod, yeah. Like I'm just confused, like a handheld fucking AK of all guns, and we're just like that, just fucking.
Misunderstood, or couldn't understand. So there was a rifle. So one of your agents saw on the golf course saw a rifle pointing to a fence. Was it a chain link? Okay, so he saw that, the agent?
That is correct, yes.
And the president or former president was on...
Guys, let's say you're gonna rob a bank right now. You rob a bank. What do you bring it? A super drill to drill at the back to get to the vault?
A hammer.
Or a metal spoon. A metal spoon.
A hammer and one of those chain cutters, right? You do bank, bonk, and you cut a chain. Maybe I bring like a laser cutter or some kind of saw with a really hard material, so I can cut into some metal somewhat fast.
How far away was the president?
That seems enough.
When the gentleman was talking something.
You just said that. He was one the whole way.
Probably between 300 and 500 yards, but with a rifle.
I would just bring like a slingshot and some rocks.
How far was your agent from the would-be assailant?
That I'm not sure right now. We're still looking into.
In terms of the 4 rounds of ammunition fired, all 4 of your agent?
That is correct. 4 to 6. We're not sure yet.
Was there a long distance?
Okay, now I know another thing about guns. Treasure analogy. AK is a good gun capable of doing a long-range fire. 500 yards, scoped AK, handheld like that. Brother, you're busted. You're dreaming.
And
yes, ma'am.
I was wondering what how this was able to happen, and for future reference, is there any security in the golf course?
I didn't hear all that. Say that one more time and talk up a little bit.
So, how was this able to happen, and for future reference, is there any security in the golf course?
Well, you got to understand the golf course is surrounded by shrubbery, so when somebody gets into the shrubbery, they're pretty much out of sight. All right, and at this
So when somebody gets into the shrubbery, they're pretty much out of sight. All right, and at this level that he is at right now, he's not the sitting president. If he was, we would have had this entire golf course around us. But because he's not,
I mean, I'm
security
wondering
is limited to the areas that the Secret Service deems
if
possible.
any of these assassins,
So
right?
I would imagine that the next time he comes at a golf course, there'll probably
This
be a
just
little more
shows that
people
all of them are
around him.
incompetent. So if
Yeah,
anybody
but,
with that's
I'm gonna do
a
this. There's only
sniper
one attempt on his life or whatever.
like
right?
knows how to shoot guns
There's only
really
a
well
few
from
months
a range,
before the elections. Why
if
don't they just
he
like double or triple down on security just for that extra?
just takes
these
notes
whatever
of what
months,
these people
right?
don't
Like,
see,
why
and
take
you
the
can
risk
just
of
shoot
still,
him
like
in the head
I just don't get it.
pretty easily. I mean, they need to just do their job better. How the fuck do you let this go? But if only, if only this guy was a sniper, then he would have been dead. Then Trump would have been dead.
I know they haven't done that. Well, I mean,
What
because,
the fuck
because
is
they won't
this?
get in and shit. It's-
How do
I
you
might
not?
kinda think.
How do you
What
not?
else, chat?
How did you not take notes of this? It is ridiculous. Right? If only he was a good sniper, Trump would have been dead. All right.